Thank you very much. Okay, Rick, please. Yes.
Good afternoon, Major Mayor, or should I say Mayor Major, sorry, and councillors. Today I'd like to talk to specifically 4 items on the LTP. The proposed rate increases. The proposed average increase of 12.4% is unacceptable, not sustainable, and will lead to hardship, particularly those on a fixed income and for those renting. As elected members are responsible, you need to go back to the drawing board, cut non-essential spending and reduce the numbers to low digit figures. Debt, it's disturbing to see the City Council debt steadily climbing, with a stated goal of increasing the debt by 1.4 billion over 10 years. This is fiscally unsound and financially risky and therefore totally unacceptable. Again, go back to the drawing board. We should be paying debt down, not borrowing more. This leads to spending. It's time for councillors, the CEO and staff to understand that the ratepayers are not council's ATM machine. Concentrate on essential spending and ditch the nice to have and vanity projects. As ratepayers, we're too often seeing needless spending on gold-plated projects while basics go unattended. As councillors, you need to dispassionately count the real cost of any spending, the ongoing life cycle cost of the spending, as well as the imagined benefits. This leads me to climate. I'm not a climate alarmist. I'm not a climate denier. I'd consider myself a climate realist, meaning I look at all the data from all sources and formulate an opinion on where we're at. And clearly, we're being lied to with cherry-picked data, misrepresented facts and modelling that has been proven to be wrong from the UN and various COP meetings, government and MSN. There is a continual stream of climate hobgoblins being rolled out to promote fear. Unfortunately, the climate cult worldwide is $1 trillion business, and it's pretty clear that those who pay for the studies get the results they want. I'd like to look at CO2. It's plant food. The elixir of life, however, it's currently being demonised as a gas that's heating the planet, but without it, no life on Earth would exist. It makes up 0.04% of our atmosphere, and of that 0.04, human activity is responsible for around about 3%. It has never been evidenced that human CO2 activity contributes to global warming. That's a bridge that's been crossed without any evidence. If you could be evidenced, then you would have to show that the 97% of CO2 contributed by nature also contributes to global warming. Now let's look at trees. Stat New Zealand notes that in 2022 there were 10.1 billion hectares in New Zealand in trees. There are an average of 1,300 trees per hectare, a total of 13.1 billion trees, covering around about 38% of New Zealand. The average tree sequesters 22 kgs of CO2 per annum, meaning trees alone, and this is not all green plants sequester, trees alone sequester approximately 289 million metric tonnes of CO2. The approximate ratio between sequestration and release is 50-50, meaning trees alone in New Zealand sequester around about 144 million tonnes of CO2. Everything growing in green is absorbing CO2 and is required for life. So conservatively, probably double that number, 280 million tonnes being sequestered. The Stats Department also noted in 2022, New Zealand produced 79 million tonnes of CO2, principally from transport, industry, farming, heating, etc. With just trees sequestering approximately 144 million tonnes of CO2, and we emit 79 million tonnes of CO2, you don't have to be a socket writer to understand that CO2 is not the problem, and it's good for the planet, greening the planet. Paleoclimatology investigations show that CO2 levels have been much, much higher in previous periods of the Earth, over and above 16 parts per million, depending on where the planet is on its multi-millennial cycle around the Sun and galaxy. Currently, we're entering a grand solar minimum period, meaning it's a prolonged sunspot minimum. The last minimum known of that era was the Maunder minimum 400 years ago. It was also known as the Little Ice Age. Interestingly, the current buzz around the UN is, maybe the planet is cooling. In conclusion, as councillors, you all have a duty to serve the people of Christchurch. By continually voting for glamour projects, unnecessary spending, and rate increases beyond what would be considered fair, reasonable and affordable, you are failing in your fiduciary duty. To the block of councillors who always seem to be voting for unnecessary things and for big rate increases, we see who you are, And shame on you. Stop obeying your party politics and global agendas and start listening to the people, because we are watching. Thanks for your time today. I hope I've added some facts for you. If you need some more information on those facts, I'm happy to provide them to individual members or to the council.
Thank you. Shalice had one question.
Oh, thank you for your submission. I'm just, because I see you mentioned vanity projects and some glamour projects. How do you feel about the 2.17 on the additional seating for Te Kaha? Are you in favour of that?
Te Kaha. We had a stadium that by some engineering standards could have been repaired. It was chosen to be knocked over. We're also saying, are we going to provide funding to attract people to use Te Kaha? I look at that and think, well, if we're providing Te Kaha for the rugby union or for rugby teams principally, and then we're paying them to hold events there, what benefit is that to the ratepayers of Christchurch? I think you've got to look dispassionately about every bit of spending you do and ask, is this necessary? Can we afford it? Do we have to upgrade assets? Do we have to build a new South Library? The old library is still standing. It's been there for 10 years. It's still usable. It's repairable. In fact, when you look at it, it was never built to code, 100% of code, when it was built. So then you should be going back to the architect, the engineers, and saying, what the hell is going on here, people?
I just wanted
It's as simple as that.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Could I just say that I'm not a socialist. With your list here at the end, you've got me listed as to the Socialist Labour bloc of councillors. I'm actually an independent. Just clearing that up.
Yeah. I'm not singling anybody out, but you know.
No, well, I'm just correcting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's fine. Okay.
Hello, Aaron, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and councillors.